Left here today with nothing but the lyrics and the energy of the chorus of that song. I want to live, I want to be, I want to give, I want to serve, I want to share. This is self-liberation. Vivi, can you turn down the CD, please? This is self-liberation. This idea of, I love the song that Robert sang, the I that is we, the one, not just my small self, not just the little mini-me, but the I that is we. It's about all of us. It's about the planet. It's about all of the creatures in the universe. It's about all of that. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. This full tilt living on purpose, engaged, blossoming, serving, clear, connected, caring, compassionate. To me, that's what that song says. All of those things. And really, self-liberation, moving beyond the small self, this little perception of who I am, lets me be open and free to express and experience the awesome human that I am. All of us have the capacity to experience that awesomeness that we are. I love what one of our teachers, the authors that we're working with, said, to experience our most essential self, the S self, the big S self, not the little self, not the small me self. I honor the I that is we, the one that is all. No separation, no division, no limits, no boundaries. And that's the ideal. And so when I hear this song, I think in those ways. And then I forget. And then I move on into normal everyday life, right? And the complexities start showing up. And I, get my small self in the way. Stuff happens. Got any stuff going on in your own life? The complexities of life start showing up. And I forget the I that is we. I forget that it's all of us. I forget that I can let go of those little interpretations of who I am in this experience. And I focus on I. You know what Eckhart Tolle says? I love what he says. He says, our I thoughts color everything that we see, everything that we do, everything that we say, and everything that we experience. These I thoughts. He says, I is one of the most frequently used words in language. Our own language and other languages. And then that's closely followed by me, mine, and myself. Me, mine, and myself. It's all about me. I was thinking about, I was going to play that song, Dancing with Myself. Uh-oh, who sings that?
Billy Idol.
Billy Idol, yeah. I thought it was a little appropriate for Sunday morning. But it's that. It's all about me. I'm dancing with myself. I'm dancing with myself. So in our deep longing to know who we are and to be present in our essence, we actually forget. We move into forgetfulness of who we really are, of our true selves. Of that, you know why? Because so much comes at us. I was talking with someone before service today. The wreckage of life. Got any wreckage going on? The wreckage of life starts bombarding us, see? And we kind of lose ourselves, this big radiant self, in all of that stuff of life. Eckhart Tolle says our deepest longing is, please tell me that I exist, that I'm not insignificant. Anybody relate to that? Please tell me that I exist, that I am not insignificant. And so we go around in our human walk in the world, in our little self, trying to prove who we are, trying to make ourselves important, trying to puff ourselves up and prop ourselves up. And part of it is that we start creating these personal agendas, all these stories, me and my story. Boy, after 66 years, I got lots of stories. Some of them I don't want to repeat. I don't want to repeat in the literal sense, and I don't want to repeat in the company of people that I love, because they're not very tidy. right? Me and my story. So I picked this image today behind me that shows an open book, but I like the image of the little figure there, the small self flying the kite, right? Hoping to launch something bigger, right? Get out there. So the storyteller in my story and in your story, guess what, folks? We're the main character. And everything that we tell ourselves about ourselves is about me, and it's from my point of view, right? Now, what Pema Chodron tells us is that there is no such thing as a true story. And I love this idea. This is fundamental, because if I tell a story about my family of origin, and either one of my sisters, or my mother, or my father, or my grandparents were to tell the same story, guess what? It'd be different. Because the story would be all about me, from their perspective too. And so these stories that we tell ourselves aren't even true. They are interpretations that we make. And sometimes people imprint their stories on us. Anybody have that happen in your life experience? It's not just people. It can be institutions. It can be all kinds of things. Religious systems. It can be school. It can be a significant individual in your home. We get invested with this mental construct of who I am. And most of it is not the truth. Because most of our experience coming up through life doesn't give us the opportunity to remember the truth of who we really are. And part of it is that we're struggling in life. We're growing. We're moving through all of the aspects of maturity. And at every level along the way, there's stuff to deal with. There's stuff to deal with. There are decisions to make. There are choices to make. There are relationships that we have that are in place, that have their own momentum, you see. And so what happens is we get very identified with these small self things. And I want to tell you, most of what we identify with, me and my story, me and, my thing, most of it isn't the truth. It's irrelevant. My gender, my possessions, the color of my skin, the religion or the belief system that I hold, my profession, the role that I think I'm assuming at a present moment. See, the thing about all these things, well, gender is probably one of those things that's not going to change. But most of these things change. They can change on a, you can lose everything you've got, okay? Sometimes we put a lot of stock in our accumulated knowledge. I know a lot. I know a lot. These are my opinions. This is what I like and this is what I don't like. This is the identity of myself that I am holding right now. These are the ideas that I hold. These are the judgments that I bring forth in the world. This is the blame that I like to bring forth in the world. And this is how I see myself. The one who used to have a person in our community who always identified herself as, so-and-so, the one who. So I was listening to public radio, I think it was yesterday morning. Actually, it was on the way home from doing a bond yesterday. We did a bond in Walnut yesterday. And I was listening to the public radio, and they were interviewing a young woman who was born with only a partial arm. She didn't have an arm beyond the elbow. Holly, your mom had that, didn't she? She had an elbow with just a little thing. And so this young woman was being interviewed, and she was talking about not wanting to be identified as the one who didn't have a left arm. She's an actress, she's a fabulous dancer, she auditions for parts, and she's gone to great length to disguise the fact that she has a prosthesis. Because she said, if I went in with the labels that people give me, the only part that I would get, she as an actress, would be as a disabled vet returning from Afghanistan. And she said, and that's not who I am. I can have a part on Housewives. I can have a part on whatever. Just because of this I'm not the one who. And so her whole life journey, but this was what I thought was interesting, talking about this self-liberation. She knows who she is. Because when she feels safe, and when she's at home with her children and her husband and her family, and she's preparing a meal, guess what? She says, that thing gets in the way. That prosthesis gets in the way. I know that Holly's mom was the same way. It gets in the way. She can't cut, she can't chop, she can't do anything as well when she's not being her authentic self. And that's the truth for all of us. When we're not letting our authentic self shine forth, we're not bringing our wholeness to our experience. Now in her case, it was practical. It was a practical application of this limitation for her to get the parts. But once she had the part, guess what? Everybody knew that she was the one with only part of an arm on the left side. But going in, no. So I thought that was really important because so many times we identify ourselves as the one who. The one who's in recovery for 26 years, that'd be me. The one who. The one who. The one who has stuff. The one who doesn't have stuff. The one who has this job. The one who's, 88 years old. Whatever, 87, Alice, 87. But I want to tell you something about Alice, my beautiful mother sitting back there. She says, I think I'm the oldest person at Common Ground. I said, isn't that beautiful? But I want to tell you something. She tells me when she looks in the mirror, guess what? She doesn't see 87 or 88, whatever she is. She sees the radiant energy of the essence that she really is, which is her beautiful inner self, which shows up way different than her mirror image, which is also beautiful. But she doesn't see the one who's 88. She sees the one who's vibrant, who's vital, who's radiant, who's living life full tilt. She can run circles around me. And so that's what I'm talking about, this capacity to not let what you think about yourself get in the way. Because guess what? What I think I am has nothing to do with who I really am. I can think I'm damaged. Actually, I can puff myself up and be filled with pride. And that's not who I am. Who I really am is this incredible, innocent, pure, radiant, perfect self that can never be diminished, can never be tarnished, can never be soiled, can never be sinful, if that's part of your tradition. Never. Nothing I know about myself is who I really am. Nothing I know about me. So take your story, whatever it looks like, take all the chapters through a history of your life. Some of you don't have too many chapters yet, like Lauren. Some of you have a lot of chapters. But take a look at that. And let me tell you, your story, what you think you know about yourself, has nothing to do with who you really are. Nothing. It's the stuff. It's your experiences. Because you know what? We can't know our true identity. We can only be it. The lyrics of John Denver's song, I want to be. I want to be. I want to live. Being is this soul energy, this energy that comes from a knowing of who we really are, beyond all the labels, beyond all the constructs, beyond all the stories that we've told ourselves. Because my version of myself is just an interpretation of whatever has gone on. My interpretation. It's after the fact. Something happens, and I start assuming, making assumptions, and trying to figure it out, logic it out. This belongs to me. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. Alcoholism. Yeah, this belongs to me. This belongs to me. Or not. Or not. It's a movement of the mind, Adyashanti says. It's a movement of the mind that says, oh, this is who I am. Oh, this is who I am. Old. This is who I am. The one who's a little too chubby. Oh, this is who I am. The one that doesn't have a job. Oh, this is who I am. The one who's had this experience that has damaged, that I perceive has damaged me for the rest of my life. Whatever. Oh, this is who I am. And most of the time it's a very small version of who we really are. Or it can be a very puffed up version of who we are, and that gets in the way too. That gets in the way too, because that's not who we really are either. Who we really are is this incredible inner job. But we usually make a prison out of our, and actually the thing is, sometimes when we puff ourselves all up and we're labeling the possessions and the accolades and the positions and the money and whatever, and we think that's who we are, guess what happens? When it all goes away, then we got to deal with a whole nother layer of difficulty, right? Everything changes. Everything changes. So this idea that I don't need to look for out there to any one of you to tell me who I am. It's an inside job. It's an inside discovery. It's an awareness that I bring from inside here with an awareness of, I love what Butterworth says, I am an expression of the allness of God. Say that with me. I am an expression of the allness of God. Some of you might feel a little bit uncomfortable owning that. You don't have to raise your hands. But it's the truth. It's the truth. And you may have come through certain religious systems that would be shocked with your claiming that for yourself. I am an expression of the allness of God, the face of God. That's what I am. And when I know that about myself, it opens all the boundaries. It lets go of all those limitations. Now, what I want to tell you is this is a practice. This is a spiritual practice. I often say it's not an I'm all done. It's a practice. And so every time something comes up for review or comes up and gets in our way, we look at it, we go, oh, no, that's not who I am. That's not who I am. That's just a label. That's not who I am. We integrate it into our awareness and we move forward. We're not going to be done with this. Yep, I'm the expression of the allness of God. Don't need to do anything else. That's the truth. But life is going to come, and life is going to get in the way of my remembering that, because we're in a forgetfulness most of the time. I like what Deepak Chopra says. I said it in the meditation. Every single one of us is a field of pure potentiality. And every single one of us has the power to create the life that we want to live by remembering who we really are. We are the mystery. If you think you can put your finger on it and define it and say, yep, that's who I am, that's not it. That's not it. We're pure spirit. And we're experiencing life from that perspective. But we often forget. We can't figure it out. Adyashanti says, when we open to the truth of who we are, when we know that about ourselves, the experience of that for ourselves, then when we show up in relationship with the universe and with each other, guess what? We get it. We experience everything and everyone from that same perspective, that we're all one. We get it, that it is the I that is we. It's all one thing. And this is where true freedom is. This is where the freedom to live the authentic life that we were meant to live from inside the awareness of our pure, radiant divinity comes from. Clear, connected, caring, compassionate, open, and free in our human experience, but remembering that it's our soul's journey and bringing forth this radiant divinity as often as we can.